guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, we're doing an update or part 9 to our story about our favorite roughneck, which is titled, After 45 Years of Marriage, My Wife Used WhatsApp to Have an Affair, Now I'm Contemplating Revenge. And guys, it's been probably close to 6 weeks since we had an update from this guy. We were usually getting one every week to 10 days, and then nothing. I was starting to think this guy was arrested and put in the slammer or worse, but he's still here, he's still with us, and not in the slammer, and he's writing it to update what's been going on with him, his lovely bride, as he refers to, and the whole situation. And I'm not going to do a big recap anymore, because if you're watching this one, obviously you've been paying attention to this story, know what's going on. But before I get into this, guys, I got a quick email here from a guy who shares his experience working with the ladies in the workplace, which backs up why, a lot of things that we all know about, then this will make a certain point. Guys, make sure you come over and check me out and join me on Locals or Patreon. Building the members community over there. You can join as a free member and see what it's all about, or become a paying support and get all the good stuff. Exclusive videos, 2 to 3 a week, and all my content commercial free. And you can either check out the link at the top of the description or in the comment section. So the first one about working with the ladies in the workplace, this guy says here, Hi SSM. I know your content usually focuses on couple dynamics, but I wanted to raise something adjacent that I think deserves airtime. The dynamic between men and women at work. Many of us spend more waking hours next to a female coworker or manager than we do with our own wives. That relationship shapes how we think about the opposite sex just as much. And I never see anyone talk about it. I'm setting this from an account not tied to my own name, for obvious reasons, but everything below is real. Well, people do talk about that. They talk about reality and what goes on in the workplace, and it ain't too pretty in the workplace, if you all know what I mean. And that's why a lot of guys have been avoiding the gals in the workplace. I've done a number of stories on this, and half of them have been demonetized because talking about the subject's not too popular or liked a lot. But yes, we are aware of the issues in the workplace. He says a bit about me here. I've been a software engineer in the high tech for over 30 years, based in a country known for producing bleeding-edge startups. I spent a few years in big corporations, HP, Samsung, but most of my career has been in startups by choice. Well, early on I learned that climbing the ladder in this industry is a trap. Startups get sold or shut down within 5 years, and the higher your title, the smaller the pool of jobs you can move on to next. So I stayed close to hands-on engineering instead of chasing management titles. That kept me employed for over 3 decades in an industry where 40 is considered a dinosaur. I don't know what that makes me at over 50 years old. That's a smart strategy, man. And if you stick with startups, if you come in there pretty darn early, maybe you can get some equity, stock options, whatever, and if they get bought out, hey, you get a little piece. I credit my staying power to one habit. I don't sugarcoat what I'm seeing, and I act early when I sense something is off. That habit is the reason this story ends the way it does. Well, it's good you do that, but a lot of times that gets people in trouble. I'm glad it worked for you. The story here. A few years back, I joined a quantum computing startup. The founders were brilliant physicists and mathematicians, world-class researchers, but they had no idea how to run a production line. The company actually ran on its experienced team leads, all men who understood the real problems and pushed fixes, though. Often having to personally pursue upper management just to unlock budget for an obvious fix. I was brought in to clean up the software development process, and I built strong working relationships with those team leads. That respect carried up the chain. 2 women held senior positions above me. Okay, here we go. One ran purchasing and blocked nearly every request with red tape. Not personally, she did it to everybody. Not because the requests were bad, but because she never felt authorized to make the call herself. She'd sit on it until someone above her told her explicitly what to do. She needed permission to do her own job. Well, I've known types like that, and they pretty much need permission to wipe their own tails, for God's sakes. And that's not helping anything. Now, can there be guys in management positions and leadership positions that are the same way? Sure, but you'll see more what I'm getting into here. The second woman is the real story here. She was brought in by the VP of Research and Development to lead the software team, my direct manager. She came from a large structured enterprise and never found her footing in our chaotic startup. She couldn't seem to grasp the bigger picture of how the company actually worked. Well, then she shouldn't be in that position. But I guess she was in somebody else's position to get that position. which was exactly what the role required, and struggled so much that she asked HR to interview the developers just to figure out how work got done. Shortly after, she fired one developer for reasons that were never clear to the team, and quietly brought in a few people from her old company to root around the existing team. Capable people, but solving the wrong problem because she hadn't understood the real one. And she's in that position. Why? Well, we can speculate a lot of reasons. Window dressing, DEI, because she was having relations with somebody above her. I don't know. But yeah. Now, don't get me wrong. You can have guys in positions that shouldn't be there either. But for this purpose of this story, and you'll see more to this point, I kept my head down and did my job. Then one day she asked me to run an action directly on an expensive piece of hardware, something I knew was risky without proper oversight. I told her I'd do it, but only with someone experienced supervising. From that point on, she froze me out, stopped talking to me directly, turned vindictive, actively working to make me look bad whenever she could, or what was, on my end, a reasonable safety call. Okay, here we go. Here we go to that spiteful, vindictive high school crap. It came to a head during an all-hands investigation into an incident we narrowly recovered from. My name came up for an unconventional call I made under pressure. She jumped at the chance to pin the incident on me and push for consequences. Women and accountability. Until the CEO cut her off and pointed out that my unconventional call was the reason the company hadn't lost the system entirely. I watched her face go through every color of the book. And who is the idiot that hired her? I knew right then and there I couldn't keep working under her. Very smart. Get out of there. I started looking, found something better, and I left. Several coworkers told me they hated to see me go, but understood why. Others left shortly after me too, and a few reached out afterwards to tell me their own version of the same story. I heard later the company went through a full restructuring not long afterwards. There you go. Now, I'm sure there were issues, but that was a massive thing that caused a ripple effect, and that company lost a good person like you. All because of that. And this happens a lot. I'll never forget the story I did years ago about a woman who was working in some industry, fashion or something, and decided that, tired of all the men, and was going to make an all-women company. And let's just say within a very short period of time, it imploded because of all the drama and fighting and high school crap. And she ultimately said, I should have hired all guys. No joke. Maybe some of you, I'm sure some of you either watch that video from like the summer of 2020 or know that story because it's fairly common. Well, the takeaway in this situation, your reputation outlasts any single manager, good or bad. Because I acted early instead of observing the situation, I left with strong references from people above her who valued the actual work that I did, not the version she was trying to sell. If I stayed quiet and just endured it, that wouldn't have been true. I worked under plenty of managers, men and women, across 30 years. As far as I've seen, taking full ownership of a hard call, deciding and staying behind it without needing to cover from above is something I've consistently seen in male managers and rarely in female ones. Sounds like the whole joke about women and accountability. Guys, look, when you have a guy coming here and talking about decades of experience in this, and plenty of experience this, and I've experienced this, and, things add up. But God forbid you talk about reality, then you're the devil incarnate. The two women in this story showed it differently. One couldn't make a decision without permission from above, and the other could hold the title but never grasp the big picture of the job demanded. And when that gap got exposed, she turned on the people under her instead of owning up to it. Different shape, same root as far as I see it. I know that's a generalization, and I know it won't sit well with everyone, but it's what 30 years in the industry showed me, and I think it's worth putting out there. Well, I appreciate you writing that in, and it's true. And I've had lots of guys write in from all sorts of industries, all sorts of line of work, all sorts of skills, same type of thing. Does it mean that every gal out there in a position of management or something is going to be like this? No, but a lot are, and it's unfortunate. And again, going back to that story about the woman who was convinced if she made an all-female company, then it would thrive. It was a disaster, and it imploded. And she said again, I should have hired all guys. So, appreciate you writing that in. Okay, on to the main story about our favorite roughneck here and what he's up to. He says here, hey, SSM, just an update from the old broke-down roughneck. Well, I'm not sure where to start. Trevor's the guy that was hooking up with his wife and other women in town, is still on the lam. There were 4 women, including my bride, got fired for inappropriate work relationships. I got luckier than one of those other fellas. He got himself a bonus child, not his. Trevor liked to spread it around. If the law, ex-wife, and or jilted spouses ever catch up to him, prison is his best option. So all those women that he was sleeping with, remember they were working for various government agencies and they were giving him money or something like that was going on? They all lost their jobs. Now here's the problem. His now soon-to-be ex-wife lost her job. He's getting divorced. Problem there, because now it's going to make things difficult with the friggin' alimony. I spent most of my time lately camping and doing my grandpa Uber duties. The grandkids are a little confused about the situation, but they are super sharp, and they'll figure it out without me destroying the image they had of their grandma. Kids are way smarter than you think, man. The kids came and helped the bride get some of her big stuff out of the house. I stayed close by, but out of the way. I was surprised when she lost her shit over our bed. She had wanted it, I guess, a king-size log bed. Looks like something you'd see in a log cabin. It took up so much room in the bedroom that I couldn't wait to get rid of the damn thing. So you didn't want it, but you knew she wanted it, and so you got rid of it. Well, when she went to our bedroom and it was gone, in its place was a really nice twin. Yeah, a twin. I have no plans or ideas of ever sharing a bed with women again. Dude, the only bed you're sharing is when you go to Nevada to have a quick fun, and you're off back to your place here. Well, she shrieked and screamed, "Where is it? Where's our bed?" I looked at her, and as coolly as I could, I said, "The marital bed and the marriage is in the same place, the landfill." She covered her face with her hands and ran out to my son's truck. Good God Almighty. Drama, drama, drama with this one. But look, she brought this all herself. I got a few dad, or that went well, for my kids, but I didn't give 2 craps about her. I wanted as much geography between us as I could. Well, we had just finished up, and the kids and grandkids gave me the hugs and kisses. Well, no good event goes unpunished, and the bride stormed back in the house. I guess she had been sitting out in the truck, stewing and thinking way too much. Well, she blew in like a storm back to accusing me of offing and disposing of Trevor. The kids and I all tried reasoning with her, but she was beyond reason. Dude, she's hysterical. Good luck trying to reason. Finally, I lost it. I stood up and told her to shut the F up, and I'll prove to her that I didn't do anything to him. I stood up and headed to the kitchen. She and my son and oldest daughter followed me in there. I opened the cupboard door and pointed and said, "See," and they all had a puzzled look on their faces. My son finally said, "What are we looking at, Dad?" And the bride popped in, saying, "How is the dishes proof you didn't off Trevor?" Well, that's a fair question. I'd like to know that myself, bro. I pointed at the shelf with cups and bowls on and said in a voice so cold and heartless, my daughters later said they didn't even recognize me in the moment. I said if I had offed him, his skull plate would be in there for me to drink my coffee from every morning. Whew. Well, she had, I wouldn't be saying that so much because that's the last thing you want to say something like to her, frankly, because she could then tell it to the cops. Watch what you say, man. She had a shocked look on her face like I'd slapped her. And, well, he's now about to say some things that I cannot repeat here on YouTube, but let's just say it shocks her and the kids. And says her face went white. My kids rushed her out of the house and into the loaded vehicles. I know I can't say what he said. But you guys can probably guess. I'm glad I got all the hugs and kisses before from the grandkids because I may have traumatized them a bit. They were all 100% aware of what I'm capable of. I would also like to clear up a misunderstanding from one of my first videos regarding the whole keyboard hero. In my pickup, I don't use a lug wrench. I have a set of tools, but I keep a 3/4 ratchet, socket, and breaker bar. That's what the young man who was pursuing a career as a concert pianist. This is referring to a guy that was making a lot of comments online about his, I think, granddaughter or something like that, and he tracked him down, and, you know, you probably remember that from the first or second episode. Also, whoever sold everyone on the BS at Disneyland or Disney World is the happiest place on earth has never been to the Battle Mountain, Nevada. He says, if men knew how much better it is to be alone, and when the urge arises, go west, young men. Yep, pretty much. Like I said at the very beginning, my wife and I were each other's first and only, until she dropped her brain out on her open legs. So for a naive country boy, those young ladies are beautiful, sexy, gracious, everything a man wants. Yes, I'm aware that it's only because I pay money, I'm saving money over being married. In other words, his ladies he visits when he goes to Nevada and has fun. Yeah, you save money in the long run, absolutely. Not where I had envisioned myself when I got married in 1981. I can't say I wouldn't do it over. I do have 4 kids and 12 grandkids. That are my life. Well, that's great, but be careful you don't do anything stupid and mess things up with that. I do miss the companionship that I did have. It's hard to find a woman that can catch fish and gut them and cook them. She's gone hunting with me for elk and deer and small game. I had it all, or at least I thought I did. I'm not reconsidering. I'm moving to a different direction. The bride has had to spend a significant amount of time in the last few weeks in the psych ward of the hospital. The fact that she's now unemployed really screws up my life. Well, yeah, exactly. It's going to make it a lot harder in terms of now she's unemployed, more alimony from you. I give myself 6 months. I'll either have her committed to the funny farm or something else. Drive her to do something else. Gotta watch what I say here. She's on a ragged edge now, so she shouldn't take too much. Being married to her for 45 years, I know her insecurities and vulnerabilities. You know, the same stuff of mine she shared and mocked me with Trevor. Well, I know how to use hers for her own demise. Anyway, there you go from our guy. He's still, I understand why he's pissed and all that, but like I said, probably 4 videos ago, maybe about 2 months ago, there's a point that, okay, nobody can blame you. You get your vengeance, but now it's just get through the freaking divorce. Already, she got a lot of her stuff out of the house. Get divorced, move on, watch what you say around her and the kids, because, again, as you said, Trevor is missing. I think he got that money out of all of them and disappeared, probably faked something like you obviously know what happened in that garage, and he's probably in Costa Rica or something, I don't know, or whatever, with that money, with that taxpayer money of where you live, because they all work for government agencies or something like that, and got the money out. Yeah, that's what I think's going on. But just watch what you're saying, be careful. But anyhow, sir, always good to hear from you. You just get through this, and your life will become your kids and your grandkids. You don't want to tarnish anything with them, because at the end of the day, she's their mom. They can be pissed at her, but they still, I would imagine most of them still love her. And the grandkids love her in spite of things. So just remember, look at the big picture. Keep your cool. Get through this freaking thing, even though she's going to now not get more alimony because she doesn't have a job. And get through it and enjoy your days doing what you want to do with your hobbies, your interests, trips to Nevada, and the kids and grandkids. And there you go. But keep us posted on things. And if Trevor ever shows up, I'd like to know about it. All right, guys, that's it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. If you like the video, share it with your friends, and subscribe. I'll catch you next time.